How the hell did we get here?
It's a big triangle or something. I don't know. What's on the top there?
Straighter.
Yep.
That roundhouse right hand.
And that's what we've been talking about. The straight shot is the one where he gets leverage on it.
I don't want to kill
Pull
somebody
back
for
a little
few
bit.
seconds.
Nah, I want a body on my record.
Now, I want to see you fight motherfuckers. I do. All right, I'm with you. I'm with you. As long as you're trying to fight the great, the best competition.
Devin Haney started his boxing career professionally in 2015 in Mexico. Devin Haney fought every Mexican in Mexico. Guadalupe, Jose Iglesias, Jorge Iglesias, Roman Iglesias, Rafael Vasquez, Jorge Vargas, Clay Burns, I'm not sure what type of Mexican name that is, Javier Merez, Mike Fowler, I'm not sure what type of, he's mad bums. And we don't gotta sugarcoat this, it is what it is. Mad bums, bum after bum after bum, mad bums, destroyed them, knocked them out. Multiple bums, straight bum bash. Obliteration of bums. It's what fighters do in the beginning of their career. Nothing but bums. Ultra instinct bums after bum after bum. Beat the shit out of them. Bum after bum after bum. Just monstrous bums. A dude named Oblivion Bum. Max Bum. That's who Devin beat. Maximum Bum. Oblivion Bum. Over and over and over. Bum. Destroying bums left and right. Bum after bum after bum. This is where things turned around. He fought Mason Menard. Mason Menard was 33-2. At the time he fought Mason Menard, Jorge Linares was the 135-pound lineal champion. Robert Easter was the IBF champion. Mikey Garcia was a WBC champion. The WBO belt was vacant, and Jorge Linares had the WBA. Mason Menard is who they give credit, who Teofimo Lopez gets credit for, but you guys don't worry about that. You'll see it in another video. Mason Menard was not some world beater, but he was a level above a bum. All right, he was a level above a bum. He was like, there's a bum, and then there's a step forward before a bum, and that was Mason Menard. The same thing as Juan Burgos. Both of those guys were unranked in lightweight. Juan Carlos Burgos was 33-2. Mason Menard was 33-2. So Juan Carlos Burgos was a step forward, the same step as Mason Menard on the bum level. At the time when he beat Juan Carlos Burgos, Jorge Linares was still the lineal champion. Mikey Garcia had beat Robert Easter. He was now the unified WBC and IBF champion. Raymond Beltran fought for the vacant WBO. And Lomachenko had just Lomachenko beat Jorge Linares. So when Lomachenko beat Jorge Linares, he became the lineal champion. At the time when Devin beat Mason Menard, this is important. He didn't jump into the rankings in the top 10 when he beat Mason Menard. He jumped in the rankings how he was supposed to jump in the rankings. Number 31 in the WBC and number 15 in the IBF. That's the ranking of a fighter who fought mad bums and stepped up his level of competition to a Mason Menard. That's what it was supposed to be. If he would have jumped in at number 5, I would have been pissed. But that's not what happened. His next fight, another guy, 33-2, Juan Carlos Burgos, right? He jumped into the WBA rankings at that time at number 8. This is two fighters who were 33-2 back to back. So it made sense on the reason why he jumped in. I still don't like I don't like that number 8 ranking at all, but it is what it is. I'm cool with the WBC ranking going from number 31 to number 18. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the IBF going from number 15 to number 10. I'm cool with that. I am not cool with the WBA ranking. The WBA be on some bullshit. How did Devin beat mad bums and then jumps in the ranking at number 8. I don't like that. I don't like the WBA rank. I don't like how they do business, bro. I don't. And that Tank resume just proved it to me. I don't like how they do business. But whatever, we're on Devin. His next fighter was another guy who was unranked, but he was undefeated. Xylophone and Dama, man, whoever the fuck this nigga is, but he was 25-0. So when Devin fought Xylophone, Lomachenko had beat Jorge Linares. Loma was the lineal champion. The IBF was vacant because Mikey Garcia moved up to fight Errol Spence. But the WBC, still, Mikey didn't vacate it yet. So Mikey had the IBF, but he didn't vacate the WBC. Lomachenko was now the unified WBO and IBF champion. Raymond Beltran had lost to Pedraza. Pedraza lost to Lomachenko. So now Loma had unified the belt, the WBA and the WBO, and he also was the lineal champion. Devin was ranked number 10 in the IBF, number 8 in the WBA, number 7 in the WBO, which I don't like either, and number 18 in WBC still. Again, those are things that I'm okay with. I'm actually okay with that, with those rankings. I just don't like the number 7. I don't like a fighter fighting an unranked fighter and then jumping in the top 10. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I feel like you didn't do enough to get that number 7 WBO ranking. But whatever. Like, I was cool with the WBC ranking. Those are cool with me. Even the IBF, I'm cool with that. But that WBO, I'm not cool with. That stands out to me, is shaky. I don't like it. His next fight, he fought Antonio Moran, who was 24-3. Now, Antonio Moran was ranked number 13 in the WBO and number 20 in the WBC. So when he fought 24-3 Antonio Moran, Moran was not ranked in the lineal rankings at all. He was not ranked. But when he fought Moran, Richard Comey was now the IBF champion. The WBC championship was vacant. Lomachenko was the WBO and the WBA. Devin moved up a ranking in the IBF to number 9. He moved up 4 spots in the WBA to number 4. Now, I know the reason why this jump happened is because there was fighters in the WBA that lost. So that's why Devin was able to move up. So I'm cool with this move right here. He remained number 7 in the WBO. I'm cool with that. There was fighters in the WBC that were moving out, moving up, and lost. So I'm okay with the jump. I don't like the jump to number 3, but I'm okay with him jumping from 18 up. I'm okay with that. In my opinion, he should have been top 10, maybe number 9, maybe number 8 at the highest, but it is what it is. His next fight was against Zaur Abduliev. All right, now in between the Zaur Abduliev and the Antonio Moran and Zaur Abduliev fight, Devin was supposed to fight for the vacant WBC title, right? He was ranked high enough that he was supposed to be fighting Luke Campbell. Zaur Abduliev was number 2. Luke Campbell was number 1. Devin Haney was number 3. All right. Zaur Abduliev pulled out of the fight between Luke Campbell, because that's who he was supposed to fight for the vacant WBC title. He pulled out of that fight, which then put Devin Haney in play to fight Luke Campbell. Devin Haney and Luke Campbell both agreed to terms. They signed the contracts, but they needed to wait for the WBC to sanction the fight. Lomachenko petitioned the WBC to fight for the vacant belt. The WBC granted him his petition, which then meant Devin Haney was not fighting Luke Campbell. Loma did. So Loma beat Luke Campbell and became the WBC champion. When he became the WBC champion, Devin Haney was his mandatory. All right, Zaur Abduliev was number 2. Actually, Zaur Abduliev was number 2. Yes, he was number 2. Devin was number he should have been number 1. This is number 4, so I didn't update that. So that's my bad. Devin would have been number 1. Zaur Abduliev was number 2. Devin was number 1, which makes sense because he was the mandatory to Lomachenko after beating Zaur Abduliev. Right, he became the mandatory. So he was I'm right. He was number 4. I'm sorry, y'all. He was number 4 in WBC. So beating Zaur Abduliev made him the mandatory to Lomachenko. Zaur Abduliev was number 15 in the WBO and number 2 in the WBC. So Devin beating him. Luke Campbell was number 1. Devin became the mandatory. So the number 1 lost, the number 2 lost. Devin was the mandatory to Vasyl Lomachenko. And Lomachenko refused to fight him because Lomachenko was going on trying to say he wants to become the undisputed champion of the world, and that's cool. I didn't have a problem with him trying to be undisputed. I had a problem with him accepting the franchise title, and this is where it gets a little murky. Vasyl Lomachenko accepted a belt that was supposed to allow the owner of that belt to fight for undisputed. So if you become undisputed, you are supposed to be defending that title. This is the issue, right? If you become undisputed, you're supposed to be defending that title. This man petitioned for the franchise title. He was supposed to fight Richard Commey. He did not fight Richard Commey. They pulled Teofimo Lopez out of a tournament, and Teofimo Lopez fought Richard Commey. So Devin, when Vasyl Lomachenko signed for the franchise title, that made Devin the WBC champion, the real champion, because Lomachenko vacated the real belt and accepted the franchise status. So when Loma vacated the real belt, Devin was elevated to the real champion, right? Lomachenko he signed for and accepted the franchise status. So Devin then went on and had his first defense against Alfredo Santiago, who was ranked number 15 in the WBC. He was 12-0, ranked number 15. Lomachenko was still the lineal champion. Richard Commey was the IBF champion. And Loma had the WBO and the WBA. Devin was ranked, he lost all his number 8 IBF, his number 5 WBO, his number 4 WBC because he became the champion, of course. So Devin, his next fight, he fought number 10 ranked Gamboa. So after this, Teofimo Lopez was now the IBF champion. Devin was the WBC. And then Teofimo Lopez had beat Lomachenko to become the lineal champion. So then Teo had the WBO and the WBA and the IBF. So Devin went on his next fight. He fought number 8 lineal ranked Jorge Linares, number 3 in the WBC, and number 7 in the WBO. Teofimo Lopez was the lineal champion, and he had the IBF, the WBA, and the WBO. He refused to fight Devin Haney. That's a whole other topic. We'll get to that when we speak about Teofimo Lopez. So Teofimo Lopez fought George Kambosos and lost. Devin fought Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz was the interim champion because Devin had an injury. So Jojo Diaz became the interim champion. But Devin fought him, and he was number 7 ranked in a lineal line at 135. He was 32-1-1. George Kambosos had all the other belts. And Devin was the WBC. Devin's next fight, he fought George Kambosos. All right, George Kambosos was the WBC franchise champion, the WBO, the WBA, and the IBF. There is no confusion here. All you have to do is look at the WBC rankings, and it will tell you the WBC champion is Devin Haney. The WBC franchise champion was George Kambosos. The WBC franchise champion was Teofimo Lopez. The WBC franchise champion was Vasyl Lomachenko. Loma did this sucker shit. All right? Loma is the one. I don't blame Teofimo Lopez for ducking. He's a duck. Loma did this sucker shit. There was no reason for Lomachenko to sign for the WBC franchise status. No reason. Vasyl Lomachenko could have told the WBC, hey, I want undisputed, and they would have sanctioned him to fight for undisputed. In the meantime, between time, while he was waiting for Teofimo Lopez to fight Richard Commey, he could have fought Devin Haney. There was absolutely no excuse for this man to sit on the shelf for almost a year and a half and not fight Devin Haney when Devin was his mandatory. There was no reason. None. He could have fought Devin, got Devin out of the way, so then the only fight he had left was to fight Teofimo Lopez for undisputed. He would have never needed the franchise status He got the franchise status to avoid Devin Haney. That's the sucker shit that Lomachenko did, that you guys need to call him out for and cut this babysitting. That was some sucker shit. He didn't need the franchise status. He didn't have it in any other weight class. So why get it at 135? To avoid Devin Haney. That's why. But anyways, so then Devin went on to beat George Kambosos again in the rematch. So Devin became the lineal champion. And he had all the belts, the undisputed champion of the world. And then he defended it against George Kambosos. When he defended it against George Kambosos was ranked number 3 in the WBC, number 7 in the IBF, number 6 in the WBA, and number 5 in the WBO. And I honestly think that's too low. That is your former champion. There is no reason that your former champion should be ranked that low. When you look at Devin's next fight against Vasyl Lomachenko, and he was never undisputed, look how high he's ranked. Number 1 in the WBC, number 1 in the WBO, number 3 in the IBF, and number 3 in the WBA. Those rankings should have been George Kambosos' rankings. George Kambosos was the undisputed, the unified champion. George Kambosos beat the guy that beat Teofimo Lopez. So George Kambosos should have had those rankings. Don't worry about it. You'll see it when I break down George Kambosos' resume. But after he beat Vasyl Lomachenko, right, who was number 1 ranked lineal, right? George Kambosos was number 6 ranked lineal. Vasyl Lomachenko was number 1 ranked lineal. He then moved up and fought the WBC champion at super lightweight, Regis Prograis, who was 29-1 and was number 1 ranked lineal. Josh Taylor was the champion. Subriel Matisse was the IBF champion. Teofimo Lopez was the WBO champion. And Rolly Romero was the WBA. Now, Teofimo Lopez became the lineal champion, of course, at the time, because he beat Josh Taylor, right? So he became the lineal champion when Devin moved up. But it was Josh Taylor. Teofimo Lopez beating Josh Taylor is what made Teofimo Lopez that. However, the number 1 ranked lineal fighter was Regis Prograis. Josh Taylor was the champion. Okay, so if you look at Devin's resume, he fought you'll see that he fought 10 ranked fighters. He fought 5 undefeated fighters. He fought 3 champions and 5 lineal ranked champions. His fighters' win ratio out of 484 wins, 168 losses, and 21 draws. That's a 65.3% win ratio. Devin Haney is right where he needs to be. He started out his career on an absolute bum bash, building confidence and just building his resume. And then as the competition stepped up, so did his competition's accolades. He is now on a meteoric rise by beating Lomachenko, George Kambosos, and Regis Prograis in back-to-back fights. All right, no fluff, no cap. This is exactly what it is. And his next fight is against Ryan Garcia. And we'll see how that one plays out. But anyways, again, this is no fluff, no cap. It is what it is. Devin Haney's resume. I'll see you on the next one. BFTB. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. I'm out.